used to finish writing something and just send it.
Now you pause, you read it again. Then you open another tab. You ask for suggestions. A better version appears instantly. You read it. You still hesitate. Something small changed there. Not the tool, the moment before the decision. And the same shift is appearing in many places now, quietly. People assume the danger is that machines are becoming smarter, but that isn't the strange part. The strange part is what is quietly becoming rare. 5 human traits that once felt completely ordinary. Judgment, real attention, original thinking, adaptability, character. Not because people suddenly lost them, because the environment changed around them. And most of us never noticed the moment it started. Most of us didn't notice when this pattern started. It appeared in small moments. You write an email to a coworker. Before sending it, you check if a system can improve it. You read the new version. You still change it again. Not because it was wrong, because now there are too many possible versions. The same thing happens when you start a project. You open a blank document. You pause. Instead of writing the first idea, you search for examples first. You want to see what already exists. Another moment. You are making a decision. Something simple. Maybe how to explain an idea in a meeting. Instead of deciding, you check what the recommended approach might be. A suggestion appears, then another, then another. And slowly, something subtle changes. Not the quality of the answers, the position of the human. The decision used to come first. Now the options arrive first. And when options arrive before thinking, something quiet begins to shift. Because when answers are everywhere, choosing becomes harder. And when choosing becomes harder, some traits we once used every day start becoming rare. The question is, which ones went first? The first trait that begins to fade is something you rarely notice disappearing. Judgment. Not expertise, not intelligence, something simpler. You write a message. You read it once. You already know if it feels right. You used to trust that moment. You used to press send. Now, something else happens. You pause. You check if there is a better version, a clearer version, a more optimal version. Sometimes you even ask a system to rewrite it. The new version appears instantly. It sounds better, more structured, more polished, and yet you still hesitate. Because the real shift wasn't the answer. The real shift was the order. Judgment used to come first. Now suggestions arrive first. And when suggestions arrive before judgment, you slowly stop practicing it. Which raises a quieter question. In a world full of better answers, what happens to the ability to decide without asking first?
Before we begin, if you value quiet, thoughtful content like this, subscribing helps this channel grow and makes it possible to keep creating videos without noise or hype. Thank you for being here. Now, let's begin.
You are finishing a short message. Nothing complicated, just explaining an idea to someone at work. You read it once. It feels clear enough. A few years ago, you would have sent it. Now you pause. You highlight the whole message. You ask a system to improve it. A new version appears. Cleaner sentences, better structure, more professional tone. You read it. It sounds right, but something strange happens next. You start comparing versions. Your version, the generated version. Then you mix the two. Then you read it again, and the original feeling that it was good enough starts disappearing. This is what judgment looked like before. You wrote something, you checked it once, you decided. Judgment was not perfection. It was the ability to stop searching for better. But when better versions are always one click away, the stopping point moves. You can always check again, improve again, rewrite again. And slowly, the moment of decision gets pushed further and further away. In a world full of improvements, the rare thing is no longer the answer. The rare thing is deciding that the answer is enough. You open a blank document. The cursor is blinking. You know roughly what you want to say. A few years ago, you would have started typing. Maybe the first sentence wasn't perfect, but the thought would begin moving. Now, something else happens. You open another tab. You search for examples, how other people explained it, how similar articles start, how the structure usually looks. Within seconds, you were reading 5 different versions of the idea you had in your head, and slowly, the original thought starts fading. Not because it was wrong, because now there are better patterns available, cleaner openings, more optimized structures, stronger phrasing. And the more examples you see, the harder it becomes to return to your own unfinished thought. This is what real attention used to look like. You stayed with a single idea long enough for it to become something, not perfect, just yours. But when suggestions appear before the thinking finishes, attention starts splitting. One tab, then another, and slowly, the rare thing is no longer information. The rare thing is staying with one thought long enough to see where it goes.
If this feels familiar so far, not as information, but as something you've been dealing with, we keep a growing collection of prompts, tools, and simple frameworks designed to help you think more clearly, start more easily, and work better in this environment. We add to it over time. Nothing overwhelming, just practical resources you can return to when you need them. If you want access, you will find it in the description. Now, let's continue.
You start with a simple idea, maybe during a walk, maybe in the middle of a meeting. A thought appears, not fully formed, just a direction. A few years ago, you might have followed it. You would sit down and try to develop it, write a few notes, explore where it leads. Now, something interrupts that process. You check if the idea already exists. You search for similar articles, similar videos, similar posts. Within seconds, you see 10 versions of something close to your thought. Some clearer, some more complete, some already finished. And slowly, your unfinished idea starts feeling unnecessary. Why continue something uncertain when better versions already exist? So the thinking stops early. Not because the idea was weak, because the patterns are stronger. This is how original thinking used to begin. Not with certainty, with exploration. You followed a thought before knowing where it would end. But when answers appear instantly, exploration starts feeling inefficient. And slowly, the rare thing is no longer information. The rare thing is following a thought before you know where it ends.
You were working on something, maybe a presentation, maybe a project at work. Halfway through, something feels wrong. The direction isn't working. A few years ago, you might have adjusted quickly. You would try another approach, change the structure, rewrite the opening, test a different angle. Not because you were certain, because exploration was normal. Now, something else happens. Instead of changing direction, you start searching. What is the correct structure? What is the recommended approach? What does the standard version look like? Within seconds, a clear framework appears. Steps, best practices, templates. And suddenly, changing direction feels risky. Because suddenly, there is a right way, a confirmed one. So you follow the structure, even if something inside you still feels uncertain. This is what adaptability used to look like. You adjusted while moving. You learned while trying. You discovered the path by walking through it. But when the path is already mapped in advance, exploration starts feeling unnecessary. And slowly, the rare thing is no longer guidance. The rare thing is changing direction before someone confirms that it is correct.
You receive a message, maybe an article, maybe a long explanation someone wrote. The words sound confident, clear, well-structured, but a small question appears. Who actually wrote this? A few years ago, the answer was obvious. Now it isn't, because the words might be generated, the structure might be generated, Even the tone might be generated. So something subtle starts to matter again. Not the polish, the person. Who stands behind the words? Who takes responsibility for them? In a world full of generated content, reputation can be generated, but character cannot. And slowly, the rare signal is not the message, it is the human behind it.
People think the real question is what AI will be able to do. But maybe that isn't the real question. Maybe the real question is what remains human. Because the things becoming rare were never extraordinary. Judgment, real attention, original thinking, adaptability, character. They were ordinary, quiet habits people used every day. The question now is not whether the technology will continue improving. It will. The question is simpler. Whether those ordinary traits are still being practiced or quietly disappearing while we are busy asking better questions. If you made it this far, it means this topic matters to you. In the next video, we continue building on this with clearer understanding, practical perspective, and ideas you can actually use. Following the channel really helps us keep developing content like this and adding more resources over time. The next video continues from here. You can watch it now.